Okay, so yesterday we were working on using distribution to multiply a single digit number by a double or two or three digit number, and today we're going to extend that knowledge to multiply two digits by two digits using a similar window method. Okay, so if I have an array here. It is enormous. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So I've got 24 across, which is quite a lot. Okay. And let's see how many down I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I have 12 down. So what I have as my multiplying sentence is I have 24 times 12. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm looking at 24 times 12, I'm thinking, oh, those numbers are way too big for me to do the 24 times table or the 10 times table or the 12 times table, sorry. So what I would do is I'd maybe split it. So I'd do our usual split. So I'd split it here, the 24, into two sections. So I'd have 20 on this side and 4 on this side. All right. But again, 20 times 12 is still quite a daunting number to have, and so I would maybe split it again. So I'd split it into a 10 and a 2 this way. Okay, so now I've got 20, I've got 4 different arrays now. 10 and a 2 here. Okay, so if I'm looking at my array now, I've split it into 4 separate ones. So I've got 20 across the top times 10. I have 4 across the top times 10. I have 20 across the top times 2. And I have 4 across the top times 2. So I have 4 separate sections to my array. And what I can do is, just like I did with my single digit times a double digit or a three-digit number, is I can just solve them all separately. So I know that I have my one section, so I have my first section over here is 20 times 10. Perfect. I'm just scaling up by 10, and I know that 20 times 10 is equal to 200. Okay. Over here, I have 4 times 10. So this is my second section, so I'll call it number 2. And we're doing 4 times 10, which you all know is 40. Okay. So that's section number 3 is 2 times 20, which is equal to 40. Is 2 20s is 40. And then section 4 over here is my nice and easy one. And that would be 4, these 4 across the top times 2 down. So it's the same principle as before. I'm just splitting in my array into more manageable chunks. The only difference now is that instead of having 2 or 3 separate chunks, I now have 4 separate chunks. Okay? And then what I would do after that is I would add them all together. So 200 plus 40 is 240, plus another 40 is 80, plus this 8 is 288. And I'll just write that out for us. So what I'd have to do is I'd have my 200 plus 40 over here, plus the 40 from here, plus the 8 from this section, and altogether that is 288. So now I know that 24 times 12 is 288 because I've split it up into 4 separate sections. If you have a really big array, like the one we had before, 20 4 times 12 and you don't want to draw out your array, you don't have to. We can just use this sort of system as a window system to help us out instead. So I'll just set up the number just like we did before. So we had 20 and a 4 was what we split our number into, and then a 10 and a 2. Okay, so this was just like we had before. So we had 24. Our original question was 24 times 12. Okay, so we had 20 times 10. Now, if you notice here, I have a placeholder here and a placeholder here, which means I need 2 placeholders in my answer. Okay, so that's how we know. And then 2 tens times 1 10, well, 20 times 10 is going to be 200. Okay, here we've got 10 times 4 is 40. 20 times 2 is 40. And 2 times 4 is 8. All right, and now what we could do is we could write them all in to add them all together. So then we add up each of the boxes, 200 plus 40 plus 40 plus 8 equals 288. We could also write out in expanded form, so it would be 20 times 10 in brackets, I'd solve that first, plus 10 times 4, plus 2 times 20, plus 2 times 4, and we'd have the same answer, which would be 288. Okay. We can try to use distribution to multiply 2 digits by 2 digits with another example just to show you. So I could have, let's say, 36, and we'll multiply 36 times 75. Okay, so if I have 36 times 75, I'm going to split up partition my 36 into tens and units. So I'll put 30 over here, and I'll put 6 over here, and I'm going to partition my 75 into tens and units, so I'll put my 70 here and my 5 here, okay? And then I go to solve my separate problem. So I have 4 separate calculations to do now. First things first, I have my 2 placeholders in with 30 times 70. I have my placeholder here and a placeholder here, which means I need 2 in my answer as well. Oh, it's overlapping. Okay, so we got 0 and 0, and 30 tens times, or 3 tens times 7 tens is 21 tens, and 21 tens is 2,100. Okay, then we could do 30 times 5, which would go here. So again, I've got a placeholder, so keep my placeholder. 3 tens times 5 is 15 tens, so 150. We could do 6 times 70. Again, I need a placeholder here because of the placeholder in 70. So 70 times 6 is actually going to be, or 7 tens times 6 is 42 tens, which is 420. And then 6 times 5 is going to be 30. All right, so we could write that in. Now we got to add them all together. So we got 2,100 is from our first section of our array, plus 420, plus 150. Oh, that's not a very good 5. Oh well. plus 30 would be our last one. All right, so I have no units. How many tens? So I got 3 tens, 5 tens, 8 tens, 10 tens. So carry that. So 200 plus 400 plus 100, 700, and then 2,000. Let's just double check that. 2,520, 2,670, 2,700. Oh, perfect. Okay, so that's our, if we add all the sections together, we end up with 2,700. And again, in expanded form, I could have written it out like this. So it'd have 70 times 30 added to 70 times 6, then 5 times 30 plus 5 times 6. Okay, and again, we'd have the same answer, 2,700. But this is just a way of showing, the reason we started with the array was to show you that it's no different from splitting up the, or partitioning or distributing the arrays like we did with smaller numbers. It's just now, instead of having 2 or 3 separate chunks that we have to add together, we have 4 separate chunks that we have to add together. Okay,